This is my mum, Elizabeth. She's 76, and we decided to go on a bike ride to explore Sweden. Bicycle touring isn't anything new to her, she used to do it a lot, but she hasn't done it in a while, and all I have for her is this fat tire e-bike, which we hope is going to help us travel around. I am new to bike packing. I prefer hiking, but I recently bought a gravel bike because I'm turning into my parents. So we're off and hoping this is going to be a fun adventure.
Ja, het is gruwelijk.
Okay, so it didn't all work out, but it wasn't all bad either.
Alrighty, we're on a little adventure. My mum and I are on our bikes and we've decided to explore Sweden a little bit more. And this road is very gravel. Good thing I've got myself a gravel bike.
So my mother became a cyclist because of the sport.
Ik hield van hard fietsen, maar ik vond juist het sportieve element ervan vond ik heel erg leuk. En ja, ik vond het heerlijk. De vrijheid die je voelt, de wind om je heen. En lekker, je kunt lekker hard gaan als je wil. Vooral in de bergen en in de heuvels. 200, 300 op een dag of meer dan 300 soms zelfs. Lekker hard. Lekker fanatiek.
I began hiking because I was intrigued by achieving a long-term goal, focusing on something big, hiking a trail thousands of kilometers long, and to face the different hardships of weather, hunger and discomfort along the way, and to stick to your goal through all that, waking up in the snow with frozen water bottles, hiking through days of rain being saturated completely, and to still achieve what you set out to do. You're not quite part of society when you're doing something like this, and perhaps that's the best feeling of all.
Joepie! Kom maar. Mijn man en ik werden lid van een fietsclub. We deden dagtochten van ongeveer 250 en we deden ook wel eens meerdaagse. Ja, we hebben ook tochten gemaakt in het buitenland, naar Nice. En we gingen 2 keer naar de Noordkaap, 1 keer met z'n tweeën en 1 keer met een groep en een volgwagen. De langste tocht die ik gemaakt heb, dat was naar de Noordkaap. Die was 3700 kilometer. Dat deden we in 3,5 weken. We deden gemiddeld 160 kilometer per dag naar de Noordkaap. En dan hadden we vaak nog onverharde wegen, slechte wegen met veel gravel. Ja, dat was zwaar. Je was gewoon de hele dag aan het fietsen. Je stond om 6 uur op, om 8 uur gingen we weg en we reden gewoon de hele dag door. En dan sta je op de Noordkaap en dan wacht je op die zon. 2 keer hebben wij toen een bewolkte lucht gehad. Dus we hebben niet die zon midden in de nacht gezien. We verbleven meestal in een hotel of jeugdherberg of in een tentje. Of een paar keer ook, konden geen hotel vinden of zo. Toen zijn we maar in de bosjes gaan liggen, onder wat hooi en gras wat daar lag. Slapen kwam natuurlijk niet veel, maar goed. Het was heel avontuurlijk.
I'm on a solo bike ride today. Okay, so I'm on a solo bike ride. My mum's having some issues with the bike, which is a bit annoying because it means that we won't be able to explore as much as we intended to. We found ourselves in this little village, or I don't know, it's so small, I'm not quite sure you can even call it a village. We booked this cute little cabin for a few days and I decided to go on a solo bike ride today. There's this area in Sweden that I've been wanting to go to ever since I moved here, and I realized I actually wasn't that far. So I'm going to explore that today. It does mean that I will be cycling 100 kilometers today, which is about 60 miles. The weather forecast does say that it's going to be overcast with rain and thunder, but the forecast does tend to be a bit of a drama queen. So I'm going, and I'm just hoping it's not going to be as bad as they say it might be. Going up, I've headed into the area that I've been wanting to go into. There's definitely more hills here than there are where I live. But it's pretty. This is the forest. The forest is a bit more dense here. It's like the Washington state of Sweden.
I set out to find something new, something I hadn't seen before. The reality is that Sweden looks mostly the same. Apart from the far north, which lacks trees altogether, the rest is mostly one big forest. There are no grand mountains and deep valleys. The forests are sometimes a bit more dense and other times a bit more fairy tale-like. Some areas are hilly and others less so, but so far it's all quite the same. And while I do love the moss-covered rocks and rays of sun gleaming through the trees, the evergreens, the berries, the elves that definitely live here, I am hoping to discover something I haven't seen yet. Stop for this really cute meadow. It's so sweet. All the flowers. So the weather isn't that bad actually so far. It's going a bit grey and now and again there's some raindrops, but it's been dry really, so that's good. Never trust the weather forecast. I've been cycling for about 3.5 hours now. So it's time for a break.
thing my bike is called a Gravel Master.
One practical thing I'm trying to figure out during this journey are my bike bags. So right now I've made every bag that's attached to my bike, which I think is quite funny. I have my hiking backpack on the back and 2 hip bags wrapped around the front fork. I want to replace these for custom bike bags, but I did manage to sew a new handlebar bag, which in typical fashion I made the day before we left. We're leaving tomorrow and I decided that I really want to make a bag for my bike. I decided that today. So yeah, I started making this afternoon, the day before we leave for the bike ride. It's the messiest thing ever, but if I can make something, I would be really happy. I realized earlier that I actually don't have all of the components that I need, so I have to get a little bit creative. This area feels a little bit more raw and removed, maybe even wild. It's not what I hoped to find, but it's a step in the right direction. Cycling through it alone makes life feel a little bit bigger. It's a feeling I would like to experience more of. I think it means I just need to keep on searching.
I thought it was going to be late evening when I got back. I got up at 6, left at 8, took 2 hours to make coffee, put plastic bags in all my bags to save all my things from all the rain that never came. I got the sandwiches I never ate.
We take another day to explore on foot. We wandered a small path next to the lake and find a shelter positioned just perfectly on the rocks high above the water. Then we discover a trail and go on a real hike, one that includes endless berries, lots of forests, and, as always, a little bit of mud.
Ja, de tocht had natuurlijk veel leuker kunnen zijn als ik mijn eigen fiets van thuis had. Deze vakantietocht, die deed me niet echt denken aan de fietstochten van vroeger, omdat ik nu niet op een goede fiets zat. Een fatbike is niet geschikt voor lange tochten. Het is ook vervelend om met een e-bike te fietsen, omdat die steeds opgeladen moet worden, zodat je niet gewoon in de bosjes kan gaan overnachten in een tentje of zo. Dat is natuurlijk veel avontuurlijker en leuker. Dus je bent niet echt vrij. Zweden is echt geweldig. Ja, echt heel erg mooi. Ik hou van de bossen. En van de heuvels. Toch Zweden is fantastisch. Heerlijk. ik had nog een keer naar de Noordkaap willen fietsen. En ja, de Noordkaap was echt een fantastische tocht om te maken. Heel erg mooi, Noorwegen. Het was heel mooi. En er was weinig wind in Noorwegen. En je moest ook vaak over de fjorden met een bootje, dus dat was een leuke afwisseling. En ja, bergen op, bergen af, onverharde wegen. Het was echt een avontuur. Ik had naar de Noordkaap willen fietsen toen ik 65 was. Door omstandigheden kwam het er niet van, dus dat vind ik wel jammer, want 3 keer is scheepsrecht natuurlijk.